Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen. Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, on this happy Monday for another jam-packed daily cryptocurrency market update. As always, if you are new to this channel and finding yourself on my videos for the first time today, don't forget to check out that subscribe button because we drop an update just like this one around 1 p.m. UK time every single day to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening within the crypto space, but also the broader markets. And that is exactly what we intend on doing in this video. We're going to be starting the video off with a clip from an interview of Rick Edelman, who essentially is talking about his prediction for Bitcoin ETFs based on allocations that we're now going to see fund managers allocate to Bitcoin and what that does for it. Now, this is very interesting. This is the fundamental narrative, the ETFs, that support technically what we're looking at. We are technical analyzers on this channel, and it's largely where we derive our opinion on the markets. Do the charts look good? Do they look like they're going up? Do they look like they're going down? Are we bottoming? Are we topping? And we base our opinion on that, and then we look for, I guess, fundamental reasoning to why it may happen. Often we don't know what the fundamentals are that are going to move something, but we know that technically it's signaled because when you're looking at a chart, you're looking at a visual representation of what people are doing with their money. And larger money, what you would typically call more informed or more insider money, will always move first. And we try and identify that in the charts. And we've been doing a smashing job, if I do say so myself, thus far. So we're going to start there. We're then going to be going over and hearing from Ripple's CEO, who of course is Brad Garlinghouse, talking about how crypto is going to get to $5 trillion by the end of 2024 this year. Now that aligns with what we're looking at on the total too. Still a chart I don't see anybody mentioning. And of course, Bitcoin and where that could be going. We can see that $5 trillion technically based on a couple of projections that we have. We'll be looking at Bitcoin. We'll be looking at that short-term kind of bullish pennant that we have now broken out of. That's going to see us run to around about 81K. The Market Sniper doing some absolutely, as always, excellent takes on that. If you're not already a subscriber to Francis, go and check out the Crypto Sniper and the Market Sniper. Somebody who I've learned more from than probably anybody when it comes to the markets and technically analyzing them. And then we're going to finish things off with a little bit of macro. And we're going to be looking, and I'll just pull it up because this is a really interesting chart. There's so much alpha on Twitter. Twitter is both the best and the worst place to get information. Ignore the BS trading signal nonsense, yabba, yabba, yabba. Everyone thinks they're a trader. And, follow some really good, genuine people. And this guy's actually a really good person to follow. He's talking about QT versus what is kind of stealth QE in the form of what the Treasury have been doing. And this is why markets have done well. Even though the Fed are being tight, the sort of spending that we're seeing that's amplified by interest rates have kind of void that, if you will. And actually, we see the Fed looking to actually taper off their QT. And spending is going to actually continue at a pretty aggressive rate. It might sort of fluctuate a little bit with the rate easing, but generally, because of the nature of the system that we're in and the kind of snowball-esque nature of it, this is only going to proliferate and proliferate and proliferate. It's why my grandparents bought their house for $9,000 and today it's worth $750,000. A little bit of a personal story there, and I'm sure many of you guys can relate. This is the great game of impoverishing the masses because the masses don't understand when they see money. They think, just like myself at one point, I've grown up with this. This is what we use. Why would we question it? And then when you start to question it and understand the game that you're playing, the game of Monopoly, and how essentially you're competing against people that are the banker, and their aim is to... It's like playing a game of Monopoly where the people you're playing against have an unlimited amount of Monopoly money. They just buy everything up, and that's what they do. But for another video entirely, let's start things off with this clip of Rick Edelman talking about Bitcoin inflows, what we're going to see. And remember, this is the fundamental narrative that accompanies technically what we're looking at.
I'm anticipating that by the time we get to the end of 2025, we're talking 2 years, we're going to see total inflows of more than $150 billion. We're only at 5 right now.
And what is going to propel? That's a big claim. That's a big number. What's going to propel that?
It really isn't all that big when you do the simple arithmetic. Individual investment advisors, independents, those that are operating their own firms, collectively manage around $8 trillion in assets, and 3/4 of them in every industry survey done by DAC-FP as well as by Bitwise all show that 3/4 of advisors say that they're going to allocate to these ETFs and that their average allocation is going to be about 2.5% of assets. Do the arithmetic. $8 trillion times 77% times 2.5% is $150 billion worth of flows. And that's just independent advisors. It excludes the wirehouses, it excludes the regional broker-dealers, it excludes the institutional investors. Well, I'm anticipating.
Do the arithmetic. That's a great sort of saying for the day. And yeah, he's right. This is what we were looking at going into a Bitcoin ETF, and we knew the approval of a Bitcoin spot ETF would have much the same effect as what it had on the SPY in 1994 and gold in 2004. Look at the charts. You then start this, you unlock, it's kind of like an unlocking of capital. And just on a 2% allocation, just talking about independent kind of firms, you're looking at $150 billion worth of inflows. I think I don't even know what we're at the moment. It's certainly more than 5 when this video was made. But that's going to snowball. And that's 2%. That doesn't include everybody. That just includes a kind of, $8 trillion market participants at a quarter of them. So it's even lowballing it. And this is the kind of fundamental narrative, just to bring up the chart, that accompanies Bitcoin getting to 151K. Just like these bounces, all coincidentally at technical support, were accompanied on the ETF news. First, you had BlackRock get in. Oh, okay, we broke that small neckline on volume. Then you get the retest. Okay, now it's going. And become a technical analyzer, and a serious one and a traditional one, because if you can do that, you can spot the footprints in the sand that you will not get from following news flows. News flows are there for the herd. You want to be outside of the herd, looking at the herd going, hang on, why is everyone bearish on Bitcoin like we weren't at 15, 16K? And that's enabled us to do very well over the past year. And we think the bulk of the bull market, certainly for altcoins, is still to come. But we'll talk about that in just a second. You also had Ripple's CEO, which is Brad Garlinghouse. I like this new feature on Twitter, actually. So Ripple's CEO bullish crypto forecast a $5 trillion market by 2024. Okay. Ripple's CEO Brad Garlinghouse has boldly predicted that the total market cap will surge to $5 trillion by the end of 2024, sparking excitement and speculation within the crypto community. This forecast would represent a doubling of the current market cap, which stands at approximately $2.5 trillion. We're not that far off the high at $3.3 trillion that we had back in 2021. We've already seen through exchange-traded products more inflows in the first 2 months of this year than we saw for the whole of 2021, by the way. That's an indication, I think, if nothing else. The potential implications of such growth are significant, possibly impacting the financial landscape and crypto adoption worldwide. I'm trying to bang my head off the table when people over-dramatize all this stuff. The Ripple community and beyond are now buzzing with anticipation and curiosity about the future of the crypto markets. We are bullish on XRP. I know some of you are going to go absolutely crazy in the comment section. I can hear the keyboard slapping away. We've explained why, and it's technically based. We think the same thing that led to 2017 is setting up again today. XRP is about under 5% of my portfolio, so it's not a massive bet that I'm taking, but I'd rather get caught with it than without it, not to go 2-pack on everyone. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Very much still in place. So we just covered the longer. In fact, let's address the $5 trillion thing. So we have, and look at that right shoulder forming, a technical target based on, we're speculating on this technical pattern playing out, but there's a high likelihood, in my opinion, of this right shoulder playing out, break, and then you're going to get a run to $3.7 trillion. Now, Bitcoin, you're probably going to see over $5 trillion. I don't know whether it's going to happen by the end of 2024 or into 2025. Remember, we looked at global liquidity cycles and a number of other things, which we'll come on to in just a second when we talk about the macro. But this looks great. And this is going to kind of confirm the $5 trillion. Bitcoin looks brilliant. We did address the bullish pennant here. You can see you're squeezing. You've now actually broken out of this on volume. Bitcoin's been having a bit of a pullback whilst you've seen that strong dollar on the oil numbers. I wonder what oil. So coincidentally, let's just throw WTI oil on just to show you. We'll throw the Dixie and the oil on because it's still such a correlated market. I love it how it puts bloody the Dixie and nice Bitcoin on. WTI, crude. Can you see this? So this is the Dixie in a nice Bitcoin orange. I don't want to flare anybody's whatever up. And then this is the US oil, or oil, I should say, in US dollars. And you can see as these are falling, Bitcoin's gaining strength. So there's been a bit of a macro leaning. It wasn't just Bitcoin that was resting against the Dixie, but also Bitcoin against. Brilliant. Bitcoin against. Where are we? The SPY. And again, this could be setting up for a real big pattern. in a right shoulder fashion. Bitcoin against the NASDAQ, which is actually broken out now, and Bitcoin against gold. And all of these markets are going to do well. Bitcoin and crypto is just going to be the best performer, in my humble opinion. Let's talk a little bit about that macro that I wanted to talk about, and that is in regards to this chart that we mentioned at the start. So it's the liquidity, stupid. Yellen stealth QE overpowering Powell's QT. This is why risk assets, including Bitcoin, perform so wonderfully in the first quarter. Round of applause. You know, often there's a lot of stating the obvious when it comes to Twitter. It's not obvious actually for most people, I don't believe. Nothing to do with earnings or anything from David Bell. Okay, not sure what is going on there, but very interesting. Yeah, and this is it. You know, and this is set to taper off. And this is likely set to actually continue. They're going to continue to spend. It might not go up in the same manner, but it will go up in a similar-ish manner because this is the great game. They're proliferating everybody to serfdom, and ultimately risk is going to do very well. And this aligns with the global liquidity cycle and everything else that we've looked at and all the technicals that we're looking at for Bitcoin, crypto, the stock market. We've got lots of stocks that are actually really bullish as well. And if you want to become a patron and unlock some of those, do check the link in the description. That's all from me, guys and girls. Thanks a lot for watching. As always, have a happy and a wonderful Monday and a wonderful week. And I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next.